Good times and Gen Friends, and welcome to CrossGen Friends, your gaming, pop culture, and tech podcast with a multi-generation point of view. I'm Byron Miller, and with me, as always, is Joe LaRussa. How are you doing today, Joe?
I am doing very well today, Byron. How about yourself?
Not too bad.
Not too bad. Glad to hear it. Well, my question for you, as always, this week is what's your happy place?
All right, well, get comfortable because I'm going to filibuster for a little while because it's that time of year.
Oh,
Uh,
boy.
to start off, as people may have heard from last week, I had a birthday recently, and my wife's present to me was on Thursday. We went out to a restaurant that's local. It's a nice restaurant. They do tapas and so forth, and they were having their monthly dinner club in which they have a different theme. And so for my birthday, she took me to that. And the theme was Alsace, which is a region in France that's right near the German border. So it's kind of like a blur between Germany and French cultures and cuisines. They say that the people who live in Alsace speak French with a German accent, which I guess is apropos. I've never been to that part of France. But so you get a lot of German influences in the food. Um, but obviously they have their own wine culture, and they're known for their wines, mostly white wines. But it was pretty fantastic. There were multiple courses. One of them had, gosh, I'm gonna have to look up the menu now so I can remember everything that we had.
For those who don't know,
The
tapas are small plates of
Yep.
food, in case anyone wasn't
And
aware.
I love I like big things, but I also like tapas because I can try a lot of little different things. And tapas is exactly as expensive as you want it to be because you can eat as much or as little of it as you want. First course was potato croquette, venison pastrami, and escargot. I thought the escargot was fantastic. I'm not a croquette fan, so it was kind of to me. Some people like it more than other people, as with anything.
What about the
Second
deer?
course, so it was braised in beer. The meat it did not have
No,
a
I
beer.
said deer. I said
Oh,
deer.
deer. Oh, venison. Yeah. So I shared the picture, Joe, already. So the croquette was braised in beers, is what I thought you said. The venison was very good. It was the second best on that. And I also like hollandaise a lot, so that helps. Second course was halibut with fennel and leek, and I thought that was exceptional. I like fish, and I like fennel, and I like leek, which is funny because I don't like licorice, and fennel has that kind of licorice anise root beer flavor.
That is
But I
an
like
understatement beyond all understatements. It is like eating pure licorice, sir.
it. Just depends on how it's prepared, how much of it there is. I mean, I had fennel in my eggs this morning. We had this every Wednesday. I make pizza. It's just a thing. And this week was sausage and fennel pizza, which is one of my favorite pizzas. It is an exceptional pizza. And we had a leftover fennel. So this morning was eggs with sausage and fennel because there were leftover ingredients of pizza. Anyway, I digress. Third course was spatzel with egg and Munster cheese. And the spatzel was very good. And then the fourth course was a culotte, which is some sort of a cut of steak that I've never had before, but it was a A1 Wagyu, which is A5, I think, is the best cut of Wagyu. So this is obviously less. It was kind of like a skirt steak, and it was very good. That was my favorite thing of the night, and it was in bone marrow. And that did come with an Alsatian Pinot Noir. I thought the Pinot Noir is kind of okay. Alsace is not known for their red wines, and that was kind of plus minus. And then the other thing that I thought was very close to being my favorite was fromage blanc, which was kind of like a custard cheesecake consistency with caramelized apple, and that was right up there for me as things I enjoy.
Go back to the third course and tell me what that first thing is.
Spatzel,
Yeah.
spatzel is a kind of, I think it's like a breaded fried piece of meat, and I'm going to get this wrong because I always get my German foods confused.
Okay. For anyone who hears
Little
birds in the background, Byron has birds in the background with his window open, by the way.
egg pasta. So that's what the pasta was. Okay, so it was little tiny pieces that were cut up into things. But yeah, I have my window open. No apologies because it is cool and a little bit rainy outside, but it also means the air conditioner isn't coming on because it's not warm enough, and it keeps things from being too hot in here. So no apologies.
No apologies. Just an FYI.
Yeah.
People aren't, you're hearing birds. It's not your window. It's Byron's.
So I guess it was essentially a cheesy pasta, but there was some kind of meat in there, but I don't see it listed on here. So obviously I was drinking enough that I didn't pay that much attention to that.
Everything except the halibut sounds like it's not too bad. I can't stand fish of any sort, really. I like seafood to some extent because I do like mussels and clams and fried galamad and stuff like that. But I do not do fish of any sort. And fennel, it is very hard to find Italian sausage without fennel in it sometimes, and Italian sausage with fennel in it makes me nauseous, and Italian sausage without fennel in it is fantastic. So, no
Fennel is
fennel.
one of the main ingredients of sausage, so yeah.
Exactly.
Yes,
They
that was
sell it
kind of
without fennel. It's fantastic without fennel.
it also is fantastic with fennel. So that was part one of my happy place for the week. And the second part is, although it isn't on the calendar as such, it essentially is the beginning of spring, which I think is great. I hate winter. I hate cold. I hate feeling like I'm stuck inside and can't do things that I like to do. And so yesterday I got to get together with my bike friends and do a little bike ride because it was in the 70s. And even though it was overcast, so I guess it was overcast. Because I do try to pay attention to things, I did put on sunscreen on my face and on my ears and on my neck just because I'm trying to be careful. And I didn't think there was going to be enough UV for it to matter. And so I didn't put it on my arms, but look at that. So nice little red lines on my arms. Oh well.
I kind
It
of
can
see
only
it,
get
but
better.
also colorblind. So,
Yeah, it is a red. The excitement and the reason I was looking at my phone was the planned route that we did had a construction project going on where when we got there and saw the road closed, they had torn up the road at a stream. And I thought I was willing to fjord across, but other people weren't. But luckily, there was a bridge, a tiny little bridge, and we were able to get off our bikes and walk the things across. I was bound and determined to not let the construction ruin my day, and also to press forward. And I like adventure, so there's a little picture of there. That's me in the front. I had already gone ahead and put my bike away against a fence, and then I had gone back to help other people across. But we had to go through mud and wet soil and so forth. But we made it across, and it was a nice adventure. There's another picture of us afterwards that I haven't gotten from the friend who took it yet. But it was super nice to get outside and to be on my bike and to go fast because I like to run and I can run through the wintertime, but I can never run 25 to 30 miles an hour. And from time to time, I can bike 25 to 30 miles an hour. And going downhill, I've hit 48 to 50 miles an hour. So I like that part. I like going fast on my bike, and it was nice to get outside, see my friends, and do something.
I thought
And
you were
with
going to
that,
say when you had construction that you had you went through the construction site and started doing tricks and fun stuff.
no. My bike is way too much of a road bike and way too expensive to be doing tricks through a construction site because I do not and may not be able to afford to replace my bike at this time. So
I see. That's a very expensive bike.
it was not a cheap bike, but I would like to believe that I get use out of it. So I have a backup bike, but I like this bike. It's very nice.
Definitely more use than I'd get out of a bike.
If you were in Florida, you could have a bike and you could probably use it to run around places and go to the grocery store or something and pick up stuff, and that would save you having to be in your car.
Yeah, sometimes of the year, but not all times of the year because it definitely gets really hot, too hot to bike and be out in
It
the
is
heat there.
This is the time of the year in Florida where it's pretty nice too. Probably another month, and then it starts to get warm in Mayish time frame.
Yeah, somewhere in May it'll be too hot. Late April. I like going down in April when I get the opportunity. Like I'll be down in next month, like we were talking, because it's a really nice time of year to be there. It is warm, but it's not usually overly warm. It gets hot sometimes, but it's never crazy hot in April. And then once you hit that May window, you start getting too hot. I think at least. But yeah. I'm also not big on the outdoors or biking or anything, so I don't know if I would do that. And I like riding in my car. I like cars and comfort and air conditioning and a steering wheel and a cushy seat.
Oh,
It's
I
fun.
like cars too. There are plenty of days whenever I come back from a bike ride and I hop in the car with my wife and we go for a little drive. Different things.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And with that, I will return my time.
You'll yield your time to the speaker.
That's right.
I think technically you're the speaker, as you're the host this week. But anyway, I digress. I guess that's you asking what my happy place this week is.
Yep.
And my happy place this week is my parents' house. I am visiting my family this week and next week. My lovely, wonderful, amazing, beautiful, smart, intelligent, incredible fiance was kind enough to
Allow you
allow
out of the
me
house.
allow me to visit my parents this last week, which was an inpatient week where she typically doesn't like being alone during inpatient weeks because they're really hard on her because she works 5 days a week all day rather than having clinic where she has days off, and the schedule can vary on and off. Inpatient weeks tend to be very, very challenging for her. So I try to be there as best I can when she's on inpatient, and she was nice enough to let me leave this week. So I really appreciate that and get to spend some time with my grandmother who is 90, and I like to spend time with her and uh, as much as I can. And that leads me to my other part of the happy place this week, which I didn't tell you this part, Byron. Uh, Grandma and I went out for lunch yesterday. We went and got pizza. There's a pizza restaurant like 20 minutes from here, not terribly far, but kind of out of the way, that we really like. And the funny story about this pizza place originally is used to be one restaurant, and we went there and we liked it, and we went there a couple times when I would come and visit over the first like 3 years that my parents lived here or so. Whenever grandma was in town, I take her and we'd go get pizza and then we come home. And then last time I was here over winter, the restaurant was gone and it was a new restaurant. It was an Italian restaurant, and they replaced it with a new Italian restaurant. And we were really confused. Like, did the other restaurant not do enough business? Did they shut down? Like, why? What happened? Why is this now a new restaurant? So we went inside and we said, well, let's give it a shot. Why not? Right. So we went in, and this is in over break over like holidays last year. We go in, and they completely overhauled the entire look of this restaurant. Total, like, it used to be this old style, like family little old school restaurant, and now it's this modern chic restaurant with like a bar and all, but it's still an Italian restaurant. So we ordered the pizza when we were there last time, and to our surprise, it was the exact same pizza as it was when it was the old restaurant. And we happened to be sitting next to a couple that were regulars of the old restaurant who had the inside scoop, and it turned out that the old restaurant owner sold the restaurant and included all of his recipes along with it to the new owner. So they just kept the pizza recipe. So it's the
Hmm.
exact same pizza as it was, just a new owner.
I got some hard news about Italian restaurants for you. Just like Chinese restaurants, a vast majority of Italian restaurants use the exact same distributors as everybody else, and so their menus end up being very, very similar. Um, it's often not till you get to a little fancier Italian restaurants that you get things that are a little bit more custom. Yeah, obviously,
I would
people make pizza a different way, but the
Right. That's what I was gonna say.
ingredients are largely the same.
I would believe that for the regular for the dishes, for the dinners and whatnot. But when it comes to pizzas, pizzas are always different everywhere you go. There's no pizza that's exactly alike.
Yeah, but like the dough's typically very similar, and the tomato
Right.
sauce is the same, and
No,
the
it's
cheese
all
is
about
the
in the cheese and
same.
the sauce. It's all about the cheese and sauce and the flavors they put in. Whatever it is, this is
Uh,
totally different than any other pizza I've had
those
around
are coming
here.
out of a can. Those tomato sauces for the pizza, I guarantee you, for the vast majority of pizza places, are coming out of a can
You
that
say
says
that, but
Italian distributors on it.
I don't disagree with you for your lived experience living in the South, and I would believe it's possible around here as well. But I can tell you in New York, that's not always how it is.
New York is not the same as anywhere else in the world, and Rochester,
That's where
I would
yeah.
say, Rochester is very similar to other places in America.
Oh
City is
yeah, I
its
believe
own.
that.
New York City is its own little special food hole in a larger area that's special. And I would say like maybe even Long Island, New York City, and parts of New Jersey are much more different because they're much more Italian.
Hmm.
But around the rest of the world, like they're
Yeah,
relying on Italian distributors to give them their stuff.
there's a very heavy Italian influence in Rochester as well. Also, a very heavy Asian influence in certain parts of it. There's a lot of different. There's a ton of different Asian markets and Chinese restaurants and Japanese restaurants and stuff all around where we are. But anyway, that's not the point of the story. The point of the story was that so we go there this time and we order our pizza because we really like this pizza and it's still the same. And so we order the pizza and we have the pizza and it's great. And we're getting ready to finish up. And I had like 3 slices and grandma was eating the, last half of her, like, it was like one. And then they cut it weird. It's like a half slice that they cut. So I gave her one of the half slices. So she was eating the last half of her half slice or whatever. And the waitress comes over to us and she says, by the way, your bill's all paid for. And I said, what are you talking about? She goes, oh yeah, someone paid for your bill and the tip is included. Like, you guys are good. You're good to go. I said, really? And she goes, yeah. I said, well, that's who did it? And she goes, oh, it was that table that was like right over there. They paid for your bill. And I was like, well, that Okay, well, thank you so much. That's awesome. So we got a free pizza.
That's cool. The only thing better than good food is good food that doesn't cost anything.
I felt like I wanted to pass it forward to someone though, and so I said to Grandma, I was like, should we pay for someone else in the restaurant? Just like be nice, because there was another table who also had just ordered a pizza. Like it wasn't like we were going to be paying for anything crazy more expensive to pay for someone else. She goes, no, don't start anything like that. And I was like, okay, Grandma. So because there was an older couple with like a grandma and a grandpa and their grandkid, like, we were here and then there's like a gap and then they were over here. And I said we could just pay their pizza. Like, just give like a 25 bucks or 30 bucks and cover their pizza and their tip and everything. And she's like, no. I was like, okay. So that's my grandma. I love her. But that's my happy place, is a free pizza and a nice day out with grandma. We went shopping to her favorite store, dollar store, after that, which we were in for an hour. And then we went to her other favorite store, Publix, which we were also in for an hour.
Isn't
Uh,
it weird to see Publix in Virginia?
no, why is that weird?
Because it wasn't but 10 years ago that Publix didn't exist anywhere but like Florida and Georgia.
I haven't I haven't been to Virginia since the last 5 years only, like outside of the
Oh.
last 5 years. So it's been here forever for me.
Publix used to not be a thing outside of like Florida and the South Georgia area.
Well, no, it's really cool to have Publix here. It makes me happy. I was very happy to be in Publix. I very much like Publix. I like my Publix better. Obviously, the Publix I have in Florida is like brand new. It opened last year, 2 years ago, whatever, like just before I moved. Actually, here's a fun fact about me and a weird thing about me. I'm a weirdo, and I was the very first customer at that Publix on opening day. I went into the Publix. I ran right up to a register, grabbed a candy bar, and made a purchase. And I was the first customer of the store, and then I left.
I am not going to comment about you, but I am going to tell a story and you can infer my feelings from the story. When I was a child, I grew up in a town to the west of here. It was called Hickory. And back in those days, large grocery stores like a Walmart and so forth did not exist.
Sure.
And they created the first Super Kmart. And Super Kmart was a Kmart with a grocery store attached to it.
Right, like Walmart super centers.
Yeah, it was before Walmart Supercenter. So
Right. It
that's
was
the
like, I'm saying, like that concept.
yeah. And so the town that I grew up in was a furniture and adhesive factory town, and they ran the entire year except for I think Christmas week and Fourth of July week, and so almost everybody in town would get the week of Fourth of July off, and so everybody, not my family but other families, would all go to Myrtle Beach for the week of the Fourth, and they opened the Super Kmart the week of the Fourth, and the news was in town, like the Charlotte news was in town, and they're interviewing people, and they interviewed someone who said, "We canceled our vacation to Myrtle Beach to come to the opening of Super Kmart." And I thought to myself, that is one of the saddest things I've ever heard anybody say. But I'm glad you enjoyed your Publix.
I did. I woke up extra early. I was like the 10th or 12th person in line for the Publix opening, even though I got there before they opened. And I still, to this day, somewhere in my condo, have the receipt of that purchase to show that I was the first purchase of the store.
And one day you're going to be able to sell it on eBay for absolutely nothing.
I don't sell things on eBay. I like to own things. I'm a pack rat. You know that, my friend.
And when you die, those things will have no value.
And all of my children will get to enjoy the spoils of my collection.
So you say that. So as somebody whose parents are starting to get up in age, I will tell you that we will do the same thing with my parents that my parents did with my grandmother whenever she passed. And that's essentially go through the house, grab a couple things they want, and then sell the rest off just as a batch.
You know
So
what?
yeah,
If it makes them happy, then it was all worth it. I did learn like a week ago that a former law student colleague of mine, like a law school colleague of mine, who was I think a year ahead of me, his dad was this prolific collector of TV memorabilia. Like he has the original Fonzie jacket from Happy Days and like the original Batman and Robin costumes. Like
that is cool though.
yeah, he owned
That's memorabilia.
he owned all of that stuff, and then he actually died of cancer a couple of like a year ago or something. And then I don't know if they sold it all, but they did something to like memorialize, and they put it in like some sort of collection somewhere. I was reading about it. I can't remember the doc. It was some sort of doctor is the owner, but the attorney is Jordan Meddy, and it's his dad. If anyone's curious, just look up Jordan Meddy TV memorabilia dad, and it'll come up because he was public about it. He was interviewed on it. I thought it was really cool. He had all that stuff. So
Hmm.
anyway,
That's
yeah,
much better than a receipt from Publix.
it is. It is. What can I say? I tried.
I collect my receipts from Publix in the garbage can.
I do like to look at my receipts after I go shopping and just see how much money we saved.
If you're
Grandma's
shopping at Publix, you're not saving much money unless you're doing BOGOs.
grandma went shopping. She spent $89 at Publix, and her savings was $74.
Okay, sure. Off of inflated Publix prices. I like Publix. Publix is not cheap.
No, they're not cheap, but they're nice. They're well kept stores. Well
They're
kept
nice and they're well
stores.
kept.
Yeah.
And ours
So
doesn't have a meat counter anymore because they got rid of meat counters throughout Publix because
that,
reasons.
that's a shame. Ours still has meat counters.
I mean, ours still sells meat. They don't have a butcher's counter with like steaks inside of it. They have everything already pre-wrapped and selected out in a different case. And they said it's because they were doing that corporate wide because of spoilage. I don't buy meat from Publix.
I don't. I don't buy meat from Publix either. Usually, do I? I forget what I buy. Anyway, whatever it is, they usually have like we'll happily repackage anything you want for.
Oh, they'll
you.
repackage it, but you have to find somebody and ask for it. They're not waiting there.
Yeah, that's true. My Publix when I grew up with, they always had like you ring the doorbell and then someone would come out and do stuff for you.
All grocery stores when I grew up had that. Harris Teeter still has that.
So,
yeah, we've talked too much about grocery stores at this point.
Time
to move on. Let's go to the news. You're up first.
Yeah, let's do it. First news story. This one's kind of a shocker, but also not really a shocker if you follow trends. Nagoshi Studio, the 2021 founded developer headed by the studio's namesake, Toshihiro Nagoshi, and the studio behind the best reveal of last year's The Game Awards Best Reveal, Gang of Dragon, is in peril after publisher NetEase decided to pull funding in May. Per Bloomberg via a VGC article, the Chinese publisher decided to pull funding after learning the game needed an additional $44.4 million for completion. I think it was 7 billion yen or something like that. This is the latest in a long line of NetEase-backed studios that the publisher abandoned mid-development, along with ex-BioWare's Mac Walters' Worlds Untold and Jar of Sparks from Xbox veteran Jerry Hook. For his part, Nagoshi-san is reportedly looking for funding elsewhere to finish development of the game, which was reported to be, quote, deep in development. Byron, thoughts, feelings, opinions, comments?
Thoughts, feelings, opinions, and comments are this shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. The amount of capital that's free to invest in things is going to be less in the upcoming year or years, especially if there's going to be war going on. And the second thing is whenever they have to look at to where to cut, it's going to be games that are off target. So if you want yours to succeed, I would suggest tightening up your project.
I have a few thoughts. I mean, this is a Chinese publisher funding a Japanese developer. I don't think that the wars that America is involved in really have any major impact on them, or they shouldn't have any major impact, at least not this early in the process. But who knows? Who knows what people think long term? But the other thing is, I feel like there needs to be. I'm not a fan of overly active government or overly heavily regulated industries, but I feel like there needs to be some sort of hard barrier for a publisher to be able to stop funding something that they've started funding. I feel like if you have promised funding for a project that you have started, then you really need to have it needs to be difficult for you to say we're not going to fund you anymore.
But that doesn't sound like it's what's happening here. It sounds like what's happening is they agreed to fund a project and then they said, oh yeah, it's going to cost even more than we said it was going to cost. And $44 million is not for nothing. Like, even in a business that's well capitalized, that's something.
Yeah, I don't know. See, that's the thing is I don't know if that was a revised estimate. The reporting didn't say if this is like a new number and is like, oh, we were under, we underestimated our cost needs, or if they just learned about, here's our status update, here's what we need. Because when you scope a project, you say this is what we think it's going to cost, and then as you go along the project, it gets revised. You're constantly revising your project with new costs and new estimates, and things change, economic situations change, and it's just too easy for a publisher to go, oh, we're actually going to stop now. I think. I think it's too
They're
easy.
given a budget typically. And in terms of what's happening in the world and what that impact is, sure, the impact is not high right this second.
Right.
But whenever companies are looking and forecasting out, they're taking all of these things into effect, and they're
Sure.
saying this will affect us X, Y, and Z in the next 1, 2, and 3, 12, 24, 48 months. And they'll plan accordingly. And they may say, we're going to pull back on this so we can continue with that. And as much as we'd like to think that other people aren't affected by wars that are started and run by America, a lot of these markets are global markets, and a reduction in supply of oil is going to increase costs across the board unless the government subsidizes it, which probably happens more in China than it does other places. So obviously, like, video game industry is less reliant on petroleum than other industries are, but the people who are purchasing those video games pocketbooks are directly reflected and
Yeah, that's
affected
true.
by the cost of oil. And
Right.
if they're looking at a market that is going to be, and we I think we've talked about this, people paying money for video games has been kind of flat, but what they're paying for is typically smaller games and not as many big name titles. And the amount that people are spending on games is probably going to be flat or dropping in the next year. And when you're looking at that kind of marketplace, you've got to make tough decisions.
You do have to make tough decisions, but then these companies are doing a bad job of what they're picking to back in the first place, because you know what you're getting. I mean, it's not like Nagoshi-san's product is unknown. Like, they know what he makes. They know what he wanted to make. He was upfront the whole time that he was talking about development, saying that he wasn't gonna let, Like a Dragon Yakuza fans down. He wasn't gonna, it's gonna be exactly what you're expecting from him. And if he's upfront about that, then NetEase should know that you have to account for the unpredictable nature in your costing, in your budgeting. You have to know, like, these things happen. And it seems to me like they're just doing a bad job, or the alternative is they got too big for their britches and they decided to try to back out, and that sucks.
Well, I'm not a finance person. I have some knowledge of how things work, but I am not an expert in it. I am also I have taken PMP classes. I probably could test for my PMP certification
What's
and
PMP?
project management professional.
Oh,
So any kind of project managers have that certification. Any ones of any consequence have that certification.
never heard of it. Cool.
Apologize. The people you work with who are in project management assuredly have that.
Oh.
Yeah, and apologies to anybody who's a project manager who doesn't have it. If I said that you weren't of any value, that's not intentional. Anyway, I would like to say that this is probably a little bit in both areas where the project wasn't being run the correct way, or the developers were pushing back and delaying past what was acceptable, and the publisher may have gotten cold feet and may have decided that they weren't willing to wait on it. And I think the upside is that the opportunity to publish something on the cheap may be out there. So I don't know what the contracts say and whether this publisher can sync or delay somebody else from picking it up, because it looked like they're going to be looking for additional funding.
Yeah.
But somebody else may be able to start it up and get a bargain. But
Yeah, I
if
mean, they're
something's already
funding.
delayed, they may not want to try.
Yeah, they're funding through May is what the report said. So they've got 2 months of time of money coming in where they'll be able to. But I'm sure that 2 months of time is not going to be spent building the game for Nagoshi-san. It's going to be, looking for a publisher. I mean, that trailer was so incredible, and the demos and the screenshots they've shown off are just absolutely amazing. And people love Like a Dragon and the Yakuza games and their style. Like, they sell decently well. That a publisher, he should be able to get funds. I would hope that someone with his credentials and his, pedigree would be able to get the money to finish this game from Sony, from Xbox, probably not Xbox, but from somebody, maybe even Sega. Maybe Sega goes in and says, maybe he goes to Sega and he's like, "Hey, Sega friends, remember how I left you guys 5 years ago? Sorry about that. Take me back, please, and give me money to finish this game."
If only
Remember?
if only the entire user base was Joe LaRusso's, who'd be willing to shell out $200 ahead of time to pre-order the game and get their Yakuza statue with it.
I don't. There's no. There's a few things there to talk about, but I'm waiting desperately to find out that my Crimson Desert Collector's Edition really exists, because I have that pre-ordered for a very large sum of money, and I have not. I've got it. Like, it says It says right here, order received, and it says, we'll let you know when we have a release date, and it's still on their website as existing, but I've not heard anything, and that comes out on in 11 days. So I want that. I want that. Oh, that reminds me, I might need your son to pick that up and bring that in my house if he's there.
We shall see. Let me know, and I'll see what I can figure out.
Okay. But yeah,
All right.
I don't know. I really liked the look of that game. It was an okay game awards with reveals and stuff, but that really was just like the best thing. And of course, the best thing is the thing that's gonna get the most scrutiny because it's the thing that probably costs the most and has the least return on revenue because it's a single player, game. And these publishers only want the extreme amounts of money that they get from their multiplayer live service microtransaction filled games a lot of the time. Maybe Pearl Abyss, maybe Crimson Desert will come in and swoop in and save Nagoshi-san. Who knows?
All right, let's move on.
Yes, next over to you for our next two stories, actually changing it up a little bit.
Yeah, these are going to kind of merge into the same thing, or at least a discussion of the same thing. New Xbox CEO Asha Sharma shared on Twitter, and I'm never going to call it X, that the next gen Xbox console is named Project Helix. I love how they always release these project names for things that don't matter. And will, quote, play your Xbox and PC games. More information will come at next month's Game Developers Conference.
It's this month. It's this weekend.
Oh, I when I copied it, it said next month. So whatever, this month, March, I guess.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
We'll see. And then in related news, Sony has reportedly returned to console exclusivity because of fears that release games on PC is hurting PS5 and PS6 sales. There are rumors that the unannounced PS6 will have the power to push 120 frames per second at 4K with full ray tracing and is on track for late 2027 or early 2028. Press F to doubt. Yeah, I'll believe it whenever I see it. So
sorry. Are you not believing the power or the release date or both?
I am not believing the power first, and then second, I don't think you're going to see it in 2027. I would think 2028 is the absolute earliest. Consoles rarely do what they say, and I can say that outside of a computer with a high-end CPU and something like a 4090 or 5090, you ain't pushing 120 frames per second at 4K with full ray tracing. And one of those costs anywhere between $1,500 and $5,000 for the video card alone. So yeah, I don't believe it. I know that running a console is more efficient than running a computer, but we're talking upscale, we're talking frame generation, we're talking something to get to that number, and they're going to hedge their comments whenever things come out.
I mean, PSSR is something they rely on.
I think that we see two different methods right now. I kind of had gotten the feeling that things were going more multi-platform. For Microsoft, that's definitely a strategy because Microsoft has to worry about their consoles and computers as being a source of revenue. So it's in their best interest to make things as easy to go back and forth. Sony obviously is feeling threatened by the possibility of having the GameCube come out sometime maybe this year for maybe a respectful amount to be charged. We'll see whenever that happens. And I think that they're changing a lot. That's the rumors that's the real reason that why they're pulling back. I don't know. I think that even with things like locked bootloaders, being able to emulate content is going to be a reducing barrier or almost a non-existent barrier. And that, like we've said, given that consoles are essentially scaled back computers these days, and in the GameCube, even less so, I think it's going to become easier and easier to be able to figure out a way to move ROMs in between. And the best way is to make your platform the easiest thing for somebody to plug up to a TV and use, which has always been the barrier for computers, is that you've got to do more work. You have more options, you have more flexibility, you have more freedom. The graphics are better, but you got to put in a little extra effort into doing it. Where with a PlayStation,
sometimes
Xbox,
a lot of extra effort.
Sometimes a lot, and oftentimes games aren't would require patching and so forth. It's a lot more difficult on a computer. And the benefit of a PlayStation or an Xbox is you plug it up and you press the button and you play a game. Um,
Hmm.
and honestly, I'll tell you that one of the things that has reduced the barrier between computer and consoles is it used to be if you wanted to play Spider-Man, you'd grab a disc, you put it in, and you would sit down and play Spider-Man. And now you want to play Spider-Man, you got to sit down, then you got to load it. Oh, there's a patch. 2 hours later, you may or may not be in your game the first time, and that kind of sucks. And so, yeah, I think that a lot of time our experiences have been made worse because of, I guess, various things.
Yeah. So I guess my thoughts on all of this are I agree with you. It's silly that Xbox loves to announce its project names. That's very funny.
It's not
Playing
them; it's anybody. Nintendo
well,
was Project Reality. Sorry.
yeah, yes, anyone who does the announcement, but Xbox makes a big deal out of announcing its project names. The Kyle Bossman did a video on this joke of this week about Project Scorpio and Project Scarlet for Xbox the last two times, and Project Natal going all the way back to the Kinect. But Xbox just loves to make big deals out of its project names in a way that the other companies don't do. Like they literally do videos announcing projects, which I don't remember ever seeing Nintendo or Sony make a video announcing a project. Do you?
Again, the Nintendo 64 was Project Reality, and they made a gigantic deal out of it with SGI content. And so maybe not recently, but yeah, I mean, I just think every internal project has a title. The value of that to me as a consumer is next to nothing.
I agree. I agree. Definitely. And then as far as the will play your Xbox and PC games, we knew this for the most part. This was rumored. We had that story a couple weeks back or maybe a couple months ago with the Epic Games guy talking about how, if the Xbox will let it, they'll put Epic Games Store on there and whatnot. So I don't view that as anything particularly exciting. It doesn't make sense. I said it before. I'll say it. Excuse me. I'll say it again. It's if you have the option to buy the games other places and the Xbox is just serving as a PC, you're not going to buy the games on Xbox and you're not going to buy the Xbox, especially not when the rumors of the Xbox are that it's going to be this extremely expensive premium machine. That's not what people go to consoles for. The premium users want the PC and the cheaper users want cheaper consoles. So I don't know. I think that you got to have some sort of balance in there. And we'll see what they do and we'll see what Asha does with it.
Well,
CEO Microsoft Gaming.
it makes perfect sense for Microsoft because Microsoft is going to get
Sure.
some sort of money no matter where you buy it, if you buy it on Xbox or PC. So they're getting a cut of it no matter what.
Xbox doesn't
And
get money when you buy it on Steam.
I've got either not some kind of licensing that you pay to develop something on Windows, whether it's dev kits or something like that.
I mean, that's saying they would get money just for the creation of video games in general. I don't know how that itself is structured, but the
I
actual
figure there's some
sale
sort of
of the
licensing.
game, but the sale of the game, they do not get a cut of the sale of the game when it's on Steam or Epic because they're not a part of the process. It's standard split is 70-30 is what consoles get. Steam is like Epic is I think it's 88-12. Epic gets 12% and the publisher gets 88%, but Windows and Microsoft do not get money when they are not sold on the Xbox store or the Microsoft store.
Maybe not sales. I mean, and obviously they're going to push to sell it on the
Yeah,
Xbox store.
of course, because they'd get all the money then, or
There's got
they'd
to be
get the
licensing
publisher
of some
split.
sort that's being paid when something is developed for PC.
Uh, on PC, I don't know if there's. So when you're developing on PC and you're not worried about consoles, you don't need dev kits from the console makers. You just need the PC. So you can use, the engines. Like you and I could go and just make a game right now. We could go and license or
Use UE
download a free
five or
version of,
six.
of UE5 or Unity or something like that. We could just do
But
that
if you want
for.
to, but if you want to use like DirectX or something, right? Like, I mean, there's got to be something paid to Microsoft, right?
Sure, I imagine when you start getting into the Microsoft owned software, but the actual basics of the game don't need it because a lot of the indie developers don't use DirectX. They don't use those little those enhancements because their games are simple enough that they don't need it. But yeah, but that's just all games. Sony gets a cut from every company that uses Wise for audio because they bought Wise. Like that's just how that works. If you own the product in any way, you get a cut from it. So I don't think that it makes sense for Microsoft or Xbox to want other storefronts on there unless they're going to try to price the console to a spot that they try to make the hardware appealing again. That's the trick. If the hardware's not appealing, they're not going to benefit from anybody. That's the question, is what are they going to do? What are they going to price it at? What are the specs going to be? And maybe we'll find out at GDC, which starts tomorrow. Who knows?
I'm curious how much longer we can go through without having the Steam library or Steam store on Xbox or PlayStation or wherever else if they want to start making PlayStation games, because it felt like that, and maybe Apple could have not allowed it, period, but it felt like that Epic suing Apple to get the full cut of games or full cut of purchases made through the Epic store on iOS was the first shot about locking down content overall.
Yeah, I mean, they lost that anyway. They lost that lawsuit.
Epic did?
So, yeah.
I thought Apple lost it.
No, the only thing that Epic won in that lawsuit was that Apple doesn't have the right to tell customers they can't go off of the platform. They lost the anti-steering component of it. Epic won against Google, actually. The Epic versus Google version of that is what they won. Apple won the vast majority of the lawsuit against Epic. That Epic filed. Google's the one who lost it for the most part, but what Epic ended up winning was simply anti-steering, and anti-steering is a provision in anti-competition law that says, hey, you're not allowed to direct your customers to go off the platform. So basically Epic is allowed to tell the customers who wanted to use Apple to be like, hey, you can pay this somewhere else, and then that's allowed. That was what they were allowed to do.
Okay, I didn't know there were other components to the lawsuit.
There's a lot of components. It's very complicated. I recommend the Virtual Legality from Hogue Law to sum up all of the stuff. It's a very long playlist. It's very interesting if you're interested in learning more about it. And then, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm full up watching Markiplier play through Resident Evil 6 right now, so my days are packed.
6, not 9?
Is it 9? Whatever the new one is, Requiem is the one.
9.
I lost count. 9. It's an upside down 6.
It is an upside down 6. And then on the Sony exclusivity, I'm gonna say this. Good. Good. Don't put them on other things. Good. Fine. Why? There was never a reason to do that. There's a novelty to it, sure, and there are people who don't want PlayStations and they want to play those games and they'll play them they want to play on PC. But the PC audience is so specific in what they like, and the console gamers want the console games. They want your console games. They want them written to the metal. They want them to be designed around the hardware. And when you start trying to optimize for all the different specs and all the different PCs out there, you kind of lose that little something special that only Sony PlayStation games can do on PlayStations. It loses a level of impressiveness. And I mean, I have a PlayStation, I have a PC. I play my PlayStation games on PlayStation. I'll always play them on PlayStation. I have never hated that I have a PlayStation Tilt. I love my PlayStation. Bias. I love the ecosystem. Yeah, Tilt bias. Yeah. I don't hide that from anybody. I don't think that it's necessary to release the games on PC. I don't think it really harms anything that much, but I don't think that you get the benefit from it either. And I think that there are people in the audience who would get annoyed saying, I bought a PlayStation, now you're putting it on PC, blah, blah, blah. And those are people who are probably a bigger part of the audience than you think they are. Good.
Knowing how big our audience is, I disagree. But I don't have a problem with console exclusivity. Nobody ever comments about Mario only being on Nintendo consoles. So I don't have a problem with that. I do think that it is beneficial to developers to, after a window of exclusivity, to say, you can release Spider-Man on PC after a year. I think that's fantastic because it opens up revenue streams for them and allows them to get more money to make more stuff.
It does, but the developers that are making those games are owned by the publishers, which means the publishers need to have the reasonable expectation set of, we're not releasing this on other consoles, so we have to have a lower expectation than if we did release them on other consoles. And honestly, Sony is the console. Like, that is the primary console. People don't buy games on Xbox to any sort of noteworthy degree unless you're talking about Helldivers. Like, no one buys games on Xbox because they have Game Pass or they don't own Xboxes enough to do it. You're not losing a ton of revenue in that regard. And unless you're going to start releasing them on Switch where people do buy games still, you're not really missing out on that much money because you are the dominant console. You're missing out on the PC, which, as the numbers showed, which, as we talked about, like $1.4 billion in all of Sony's PC releases over the last 4 or 5 or 6 years, whatever it's been, versus $37 billion in 1 year, 1 fiscal year. The PC market did not show up for the Sony games. It's not worth the cost and effort to put them out there, I don't think. And
Maybe.
I think it is brand damaging to some extent for the people who care that much about the console. There is still, believe it or not, a pride in your console. Why people have pride in their console, I don't know. I have pride in my console. I don't have any reason to, but I have pride in my PlayStation.
I couldn't care less which console I'm playing something on. I like it for the game that I play it on at any given time. I
I feel the same way, but I still have this sense of pride in my PlayStation. I don't know why.
Yeah. I think it's less likely than it used to be just because we are getting more general and less specific on what consoles are. But the thing that Sony has to keep in mind, and Microsoft to the same extent, is it could be one new feature or one new thing that somebody brings out on a new console generation that completely turns the tables. Sony wasn't doing so hot for quite a while in the PS3 era, where Microsoft had Xbox Live, and that was the killer app that people absolutely loved.
Yeah.
And they tripped themselves up by having a really difficult system to develop on, and it was about
a really bad online infrastructure. That was a horrible infrastructure on PS3.
Yeah, and it took about midway through the generation for them to even catch back up, and then Microsoft screwing things up the next generation that let Sony really come back in.
Yeah, I mean, the PS3 still beat the 360 in the end in total numbers, but it took a long time.
It took a long time.
Yeah. And then as far as the power and the pricing or in the release goes, I haven't listened to it yet because it only came out yesterday, but Tom from Moore's Law is Dead, who's been the primary source of a lot of the leaks on the console information, did an interview with Colin Moriarty from Last Stand Media on the Sacred Symbols Plus. I haven't listened to that episode yet, so I don't know the finer details, but this is from what I've heard about his reporting, what he said, that it's still on track and they're still going to try their best to keep the price down relative to the pricing of what things have been lately. I think what I'd heard in the conversation before without listening to the conversation, what I heard about the conversation is that it's more costly to delay than it is to sell at the higher prices. That's what I'd heard.
Yeah, and they can want that as much as they want to, and I hope they hit their targets, but there's a lot of balls up in the air right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. For always.
Not always. Now there's a lot of balls up in the air.
There are always a lot of balls up in the air.
More than usual. There are a lot.
Oh
of
yes,
balls
that's
up in
true.
The air.
Yeah, more than usual. Yeah, I will say that people mock the 7-year console cycle, but it was 7 years between PS3 and PS4. It was 7 years between PS4 and PS5. So they do 7 years.
I think 7 is a perfectly fine amount.
Not you, other people. I hear.
Like, what's their problem with it? Is it too long?
No, they say it's too short. They say the console cycle should be 10 years.
My only problem with it, and this has not been an issue since a while, I don't like the idea of them releasing PS6 and then cutting all PS5 releases.
It's 2026 and they haven't even cut all PS4 releases yet.
That's my point. It's gotten much better. And, it's only been
That's worse. That's bad. They need to cut it sooner.
No, they don't. Because not everybody has unlimited free money to spend on these things, and a lot of people, a console is an investment for, and they should be able to get games for it.
They should be able to get games for it, but they also should be able to not get games for it sometimes. They need to work on making games that are only available on the new stuff sometimes. Not all of them.
I'm pro-consumer.
I'm pro-consumer
the
too,
PS5
but I want the
version
consumer
to
have
the PS4 version.
The PS5 version should be a version that couldn't exist on the PS4. That's the thing. I want the games to be made that can't exist on the prior generations. Mark Cerny's talk about the PS5 when he was pitching it 6 years ago was the PS5's SSD is going to make it so that we can redesign levels so that we don't need to have hidden loading screens, and it's just so fast. And then all the games come to PS4 anyway, so you still have the hidden loading screens.
Yeah, I think 2 years is plenty.
Yeah, 2 years is fine. It's 6.
There's a market for it, or they wouldn't do it.
I agree. There's a market for it. There's a market for it because of a lot of reasons. Because we've had an economy in the dumpster for a decade. Because we've had uncertainty in the economy for 20 years.
I don't know that, but that's a topic for a different discussion. I would say we've
Sure.
had an economy in the dumpster for the past year, but that's a whole different discussion.
Uh, unless it's so hard when you're discussing economies because stocks can go up, but hourly wages and inflation hurt. I mean, I don't know. I don't remember the last time I felt economically secure in life, and maybe I never will. I don't know. That's a sad thought. I do my dear friend Brooks and we discuss economies and things all the time, and he's an air traffic controller. He makes more money than I do, and even he feels the pressure of life because things are just so expensive, and he's been
Well, things
feeling
are
that forever.
yeah, things are expensive. You're not going to get an argument from me.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that's all I have to say on that topic.
I could speak for about 2 hours on ways that I think that we could rescale the economies, but that's a different show topic. All right, hit it up with the last story.
Yes, this is our game announcement roundup, which I thought about calling a segment, but Byron doesn't like when I call things segments. So this is just game announcement roundup. In lieu of another story, here are two notable games announced this week. Ubisoft has officially revealed via a key art teaser the Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag remake titled Resync per the image. Black Flag is the beloved sixth, despite the number, mainline entry in the franchise and widely considered one of, if not the, best Assassin's Creed games. It's definitely in the top 3 or top 5 for me personally. Probably top 3. I'd have to really think about my list again. The remake has been rumored for months as an early 2026 release and was purportedly subject to a delay earlier in the year. Now we patiently await a proper reveal and a release date, hopefully this year for my fantasy team. Second, Bandai Namco has revealed a new Sword Art Online RPG, Echoes of Aincrad, set in the universe of the aforementioned light novel series. This is the first game set outside of existing storylines and, according to IGN's preview, will not require foreknowledge of the light novels or other media. Echoes of Aincrad is a completely single-player RPG with a customizable character, and that has a release date of July 9th, 2026 already.
Why is it online?
It's not.
Sword Art Online RPG, Echoes of Ain or
Right.
Cad.
Aincrad.
Ain, whatever.
Uh-huh.
So it's not an online RPG. It just has an online in the name of it.
Right. It's literally called. Okay, I understand. Okay. So the light novel series is called Sword Art Online.
Oh.
Because the general plot of this universe is that that Sword Art is a video game and your character goes into the video game, but if you die in the video game, you die in real life. So you are
Nightmare on Elm
playing.
Street.
Huh?
Or Jumanji. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. That is the context within which this is set. So Sword Art Online is the light novel series, and then all the other games typically are set somewhere in the universe in the existing storylines.
How old are these? Are these pre or post Star Ocean 3?
I don't actually know that answer. I can look really quick. Let's see. Sword Art Online wiki. So Sword Art Online is a light novel series. Its original run was 2002 to 2008, and as a novel series, and its light novel series is 2009 through present. So originally, I guess it was originally written as a novel. I thought it says light novel series in the thing. So somewhere in the early 2000s.
Ooh, so Star Ocean 3 was 2003, so two different people had the same idea at the same time.
Yeah. So they release Sword Art Online video games like every year. Like literally. Okay, so I'm just looking at the video games. Every year since 2013, at least one Sword Art Online video game has released. There were 2 released in 2014, 2 released in 2015, 2 released in 2017, 3 released in 2016, 2 released in 2018, 2 released in 2019, 1 released in 2020 through 2024, and then last year was the first year without a Sword Art Online video game released. So they make a lot of video games in this world, but this is the first one that is actually interesting for me as an RPG lover who does not have experience with this particular franchise. A lot of these are mobile games or, things like that. So this is, this will be interesting. I'm excited for this one. I don't know about you.
It's going to be I want to see it before I care.
They have a small trailer and a preview on IGN. So
yeah, trailers are trailers.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like a gameplay trailer or anything. It's just like a little trailer. It's like a review.
I'm more interested in Assassin's Creed Black Flag because
Me
That
too.
is probably two or three for me in the Assassin's Creed series.
Yeah.
But it's a remake, so there needs to be a good reason why I'm going to play it again. Because I'll be honest, the Assassin's Creed games I like, but they are not replay games for me.
I agree, except for the Ezio games. I love the Ezio games. I've replayed those. Those are some of my most replayed.
I have
Um,
not replayed any of them, and honestly, I haven't thought about it.
so what do you know about this remake rumors? Have you heard anything? Do you remember any of the stories about it?
Nope.
So the rumors of resync are, well, first of all, the resync title, which is what was rumored and turned out to be correct. But the other side of it is it is taking the original Black Flag game. They're apparently stripping out the modern day elements completely. No first person Abstergo running around. So that's gone. And then they are inserting the RPG mechanics of the later Assassin's Creeds, the Ancients trilogy and Shadows to some extent. That's what the rumors say, that they're at least to some extent putting the RPG mechanics in. It's not a rewriting of the story, but it is a graphical overhaul and a gameplay overhaul to play more like the modern Assassin's Creeds. That's what I've heard about it so far. There may be more rumors about it that I'm not remembering or that I didn't read, but that is what the reports say. I find that slightly disappointing, only in that, again, I like the modern day stuff. So if it is stripped out, that's a little sad. But I also really like the combat in the modern Assassin's Creed games sometimes. I didn't. I really love Odyssey. Odyssey's combat is fantastic. Valhalla's combat's okay. Shadow's combat's pretty good, and Origins combat is also good. I guess I really just didn't like Odyssey's combat that much. So, but I'm curious because Black Flag is much closer to the traditional stealth that the that only Shadows tries to replicate in that trilogy. So I'm curious how they translate the RPG elements into this game.
I'll be honest, like I'm not gonna buy it just because it's a remake of that. Like if they do something to make the naval battles way more important and almost the entire game and expand on that massively, I might be a an interested party.
Oh, that reminds me of one of the other things I remember reading. Apparently, they are removing the loading between sea and land, so it's just going to be one big world, the way that Odyssey is, where you just like get off the boat and you just go on to the islands.
Good. Yeah. I mean
Yeah,
that's a bandwidth thing.
yeah. The naval battles were really important in Black Flag already. Like
Well
that
yeah,
was a
but I've
huge
done them
thing.
all.
Oh, yeah. Well, you said more important. So what do you want? What do you actually want? You just want like more battles?
Well, there more battles. Yeah, just I don't know. I could do like an entire 30-hour game of just doing naval bounties, honestly.
It's called Skull and Bones. Have you played Skull and Bones? Go play Skull and Bones.
Is that the online game?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that.
It's apparently really good for that, exactly what you just said right there.
Yeah, but I'm also I don't want to pay somebody every month for the privilege of playing a game.
No, it's free. It's not
No.
paid. It's not subscription. Not free. It's not free to play. You buy the game. You can get it for like
Well,
$10.
we'll talk about what I'm going to play next whenever we get to that part in just a second.
Okay. Yeah, but I'm excited for this. I will buy this immediately. I love, like I said, Black Flag a lot, and I like replaying games when they're remade. It's funny, Byron. I had this funny thought as I was going through Yakuza 3 Remastered, which we'll talk about momentarily when we get there. But as a part of my platinum trophy uh journey, I had to get do a hard playthrough and a legend difficulty playthrough of this game. And I love this game and I love Yakuza games in general. I had absolutely zero desire to sit through the Yakuza 3 story again because I know the story and I didn't want to see it anymore. It takes too long. Like it's not something that's interesting to me. But when I do play Kiwami 3, even though it's going to be substantially the same story, I'm going to sit through that whole story and watch the whole thing take place because it's a remake, because it is different. Something is different. It looks better. It'll be different enough that I will do it again. And that is how I feel about it. I like to do things when they are remade. Mass Effect. I went through all of the Mass Effect remasters, but I probably wouldn't sit through them if I'd played the originals again. That's just something weird about my preferences when it comes to the remakes of things or remasters of things. So I will play this game and be really excited for it because it's been 12 years since no 13 years since this game came out. I haven't played it in 13 years, And if they make it look better and play better and whatnot, that's a long enough time that I'll be like, yeah, all right, let's do it. I'll do it again. I'll do it again. Sure.
I'd rather than remaster Shadows.
It just came out.
Yeah, but it's not great.
You don't like Shadows? It had problems.
It's okay. It
had problems for sure. It had problems for sure. Yasuke was a problem. That was not a good choice, I don't think. I think that if he wanted to have Yasuke, he should have had his own game. That would have been really cool. And now we could have had our own game, and we could have had 2 really cool Assassin's Creed games instead of a bad mix.
I don't like split protagonists. I didn't like it in Final Fantasy VIII. I don't like it in Shadows. It's lesser so, but
I tend to agree. I'm not a big split protagonist fan. That's one of the reasons I don't like Assassin's Creed 3 very much, because of the ginormous split in protagonists there.
Yeah. All right. But anything else about this one?
No, that's it. I'm looking forward to just seeing about it. And please come out this year. I really need your fantasy help. I really need to stick it to Ty Guy Travis, who counterpicked me.
Is money on the line?
No.
Okay. So just Epine?
No, he just counterpicked me because he had inside knowledge that it was going to get delayed from his IGN connections, and I want him to pay for the price.
This is all for Epine. Okay.
Yes, it is. But that'll do for the news, I guess, right?
Yeah, let's move on to what we're playing. And I want to talk about one of yours, so I'll just go first so we can get that out of the way.
Okay.
Ball Pit's still fun, still playing Ball Pit.
Of course.
I had a busy week this week, so I have not spent much time playing games of any sort. I did record an hour-ish of Nier.
I watched it.
Frustrating. Thank you. Nier is frustrating to me.
Did you see my comment?
I did not, because I haven't logged back in with our show handle to look at comments. But I will. Because I don't look at our YouTube comments that frequently because they're rarely there. Typically on release day, I'll look at them. But anyway, Nier, it really shows its age as of an early 2010s game. Is that right?
No, it's 2017.
No, that was the re-release, right? The game of the Yorha was. It feels older than it is, and it's time to time.
2017, critically acclaimed 2017 ARPG. Yeah,
I like it, but it's just. Things frustrate me. The fast travel system frustrates me. The save system frustrates me. Feeling like I can't find enough stuff to upgrade my equipment constantly or consistently enough to matter frustrates me.
My comment to you. My comment to you was, you seem a little bored, buddy. Good video, but it doesn't look like you're having too much fun.
It's just kind of frustrating to me. The parts that I like the best are still the top-down and side-scrolling gunship fights. Those are fantastic. I love those. Yeah, otherwise it's... And every time, you finish with this mission, go do this, and you walk out, incoming call. Not again. I don't want another incoming call from base.
That's like saying you don't want more game. It's I don't want more game.
True. I've already gotten my mission. I want to go do my mission and not have discussions about other things. And I freaking hate the idea of, hey, we shouldn't fight. We should be friends. Okay, let me think about it. Oh, you've already attacked me. Cool. Give me some options here, or don't allow it. I don't know. Maybe if I'm an android, put in an override thing where I'm nope, I got to attack you. Bye. It's not hard, but it does feel like I'm gonna drink potions until I can pound through something.
Yeah, that was literally how you beat that boss. Was you just kept pounding the potion?
So I didn't do it because I have auto potion on, and that's how I died before. Is that he had an attack that went faster than my auto potion triggered? So
that's funny. Yeah, it's funny because I've never played this game, and I've watched you play a little bit, but I never really got to see you in the town and do town things in the gameplays that you've done.
It's so minimal, though.
Right.
So there's not a lot to it. You're not missing much. There's a town and then another half town.
I say this for a reason. So I'd never seen you in that town, and it really gave me, and I didn't know this, even though I'd heard about this, but it really gave me very strong Stellar Blade vibes because it felt kind of like Stellar Blade's little town. There's definitely more to Stellar Blade's town than this one, but you had that light Japanese music in the background, that light J-poppy kind of thing going on, and you're just talking to these vendors and doing these things, and it's okay, I get where the people feel the Stellar Blade connection, and I understand that the Stellar Blade team was inspired by Nier. I just think from what I've seen of you play it, in my experience playing Stellar Blade, I think Stellar Blade looks and plays probably way better than this game looks and plays.
Oh, prepare for the rage comments.
I know. I know people love the Nier stuff, and I've never played, so I'm not talking from my own experience. I'm just talking from my time with watching Byron play. But yeah,
Nier is super cool. It is one of the most stylized games there's been. It apologizes for the sirens. There's an ambulance coming by that's following a fire engine, so that must be a bad day for somebody.
or a few people.
Yeah, typically, so there's a neighborhood near us that has some older residents, and
Ooh.
the way things work is whenever there's a medical emergency, fire department is dispatched first.
Always.
Because
Yeah.
they're more bored than EMTs are, and so they go and they triage, and then if it's serious enough, then an ambulance gets dispatched. So yeah, that may be a bad day for somebody, unfortunately.
My dad worked for an ambulance corps when he was like on the side, because my parents are both retired NYPD, but on the side, my dad was an EMT, like working for an ambulance corps for a few years.
EMTs are rarely bored.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's Nier. Nier is cool. Nier is frustrating. I'll keep doing it. I will do my best if I don't play on Thursday to record something to be published on Thursday. The only other thing that I really have to comment about is I am near the end of Dragon Quest VII Reimagined. I did go through the silver tablet dungeon, and I got all the way through that, and I have started the gold tablet dungeon. Silver tablet was fine. The final boss in it, I don't want to spoil anybody.
It's not a spoiler. It's a JRPG.
Anyway,
I'm not going to say it, but it's not a spoiler. If you know what JRPGs are, that's the final boss.
The silver tablet is not the final boss. I mean, it's not the final part of the game. That's a post game area.
True.
It's related to what happens at the end of the game. I died to him one time, and the next time I had it set up so the way I've been running it, I did get frustrated with the speed of things happening, and so I increased the XP gain and I increased the job point gain, because I was just like, I'm done with this. I'm at the end of the game. I'm just gonna barrel through a second, get all these to the upper level. But what I've been doing is I've been leaving the primary class on my finished final in game class. So essentially, druid and hero or champion for the characters, and then the subclass is whatever I'm building up at any given time, because you get bonus points. And essentially, since I'm way overpowered anybody anyway, you essentially get double job points, because when you kill things on the overworld, instead of getting 1 point, you get 2 points.
Yeah, and then when you do it in the battle screen, you get 8 points instead of 5 points.
Yep. Or for me, because I increase it, I now get 7 points plus 3 points, I think.
So you get 10 points.
So you get 10. So once I switched my subclasses to another complementary class, so instead of my mages having paladin as their subclass, because that's what I'm leveling, I put them on sage, and you know what? It made it really easy. It was not hard. So I'm going through gold now. I don't expect gold to be hard. I had to go through the first level of the arena, the new re-released arena, and I did not beat it in any speed record, but I did beat it without much trouble. The biggest problem with that was in the previous arena, between rounds, it did refill your health and refill your magic points, and with this one it did not, so I had to be a little more conservative with what I did with it.
Yeah, and if you want the platinum, you do need to do the speed of it. You don't need to just complete it, because the completion just gets you the gold fragment.
Yeah, and I don't know if I will. I mean, if I have to collect every item, like,
you get most of the items just playing the game for what it's worth. Yeah,
I'm not going to play 3 hours of match game to get an achievement. Like, that's not something that is interesting to me. But you know, I'm going to get through the content of the game and at least get through the gold dungeon.
That was my thought. By the time I got through the gold dungeon, the last thing I needed was like a couple of enemies and the items, and I was like, I'm so close. I'm just going to get it. Have you been grinding platinum jewel slimes? Is that what you've been doing for experience?
I've never seen a platinum jewel slime, so the answer is no. I did find
they're literally all over slime. They're all over that dungeon.
Are they the yellow ones?
No, they look like gems. They look like diamonds.
Yeah, there's a yellow gem. I've seen those.
It's like that, but it's that shape, but it's a platinum color.
Oh no, I've not seen a single one of those yet.
I thought you started the gold dungeon.
I started the gold dungeon, and then I saved it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they're all over the gold dungeon. Like, you'll find them constantly in the gold dungeon.
So yeah, I'll see them, and I'm sure that The funny thing was, I think I'm level 65 now, with some characters lower than that because of how the party gets split up.
Yeah.
Um, I with the XP increase on, I did fight a king metal slime, and it only leveled up one of my characters.
Yeah. The the platinum the platinum jewel guys give you like half a level, even up into like the upper 80s. So like two of them will level you up pretty easily. You'll definitely get a level when you find them. I will say that where you are is going to be a little tough to start. Like there are going to be some tough enemies early on that you're going to need to do some difficult fights. They're not easy at that point. Like I was grinding levels because I was struggling on just like the basic enemies in there. So just
Okay,
be aware of that.
yeah, it
Like Gold
hadn't been
Dungeon's
hard
no
so
joke.
far.
I was 99 by the time I finished. I made sure to grind all the way up to the cap because they were
Gotcha.
tough.
So yeah, so hopefully I'll finish that this week, and then I'll look at what I'll do next. And I'll
What
leave it
about
up to you,
Bonanza?
Joe.
You said you're gonna play Bonanza.
I
Or you?
am, but like that's not going to be like hardcore. That's going to be things I do on the side. I
I
will
see.
play
Okay.
Bonanza, but like I need a game to play on my computer. So
All right.
feel free to comment, and Joe, you can comment too. I do have Red Dead Redemption to play. I do have. Oh, what was the other one? Witcher 3 was going to be on the list. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
and Lasad. I did buy KCDC 2 for $27 or
KCDC.
whatever. Kingdom Come Deliver, whatever, KCD, whatever it is. I got close enough. You knew what I was talking about.
I did, but it was funny
Um,
because you were clearly thinking of ACDC.
whatever. One of those two is not great. The other one I haven't played yet. Anyway, then I found out that it was released on Game Pass. So sad trombone.
Happy they got a new sale.
I mean, they would have gotten monetized for me playing it on Xbox Game Pass. Also,
They get more money from a sale.
maybe you don't know how many times I'm going to play it. So anyway, so that those are the three that I'll be looking for: Witcher 3, Red Dead Redemption, or Kingdom Come Deliverance
For
2.
what it's worth, if you stream any of those three, you are much more likely to get me as a regular audience member.
I mean, I'm not super concerned about you. I would figure that people would want to watch you play Waifu Near. So I guess
Maybe
that's not
other
really
people
true.
would, but
Other
I don't
people. I'm
know.
not talking about you.
Yeah.
I'm talking about in general grass
You
touching
got to
people.
promote the stream. You got to post it places. And I don't know. We got to figure out, we got to grow our audience somehow.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, that's me. Go.
Yeah. So I have finished for now my journey through Yakuza 3 Remastered. I got 100% on the completion list, which was unnecessary, but I did it anyway just because I felt the urge to do it. Because I wanted some of the things, and anyway, so I got that, got the ultimate battles done despite crashing and whatnot previously. I this week finally got all the mini games done for the mini game completion, which was the requirement for the trophy. And then the next piece was I had to play through the game on Legend for the Legend trophy, but Legend only unlocks when you play on hard. So I had to go through the game all the way on hard, and then I had to go through it all the way again on Legend. And as I said, I did not pay any attention to anything that was going on in that game. I skipped it as much as I could. The hard playthrough took probably 5 hours or so, and the Legend playthrough probably took like 4 because I didn't get lost anymore and I knew where I was doing because I just did it on hard. Because there are some points in that game where they don't tell you exactly what you need to do or where you need to go. You kind of have to figure it out. So because I had figured it out playing it on hard, I knew how to do it on like I literally did it back to back. Like I finished it, and then as soon as I was done, I went and took a break for like dinner or something, and then I went and I did it all night, and I finished it the rest of that night for the Legend playthrough. So uh, that is done. The last thing I have to do in Yakuza 3 Remastered is I need to get a Mahjong trophy called Exposed Dragon, which is a funny name for a trophy. And essentially what it is, how much do you know about Mahjong, sir?
It's tiles, and you match them.
You don't match them. That's not what
Then
it
I don't
is.
know much about mahjong.
That's you're thinking of the Mahjong that you play by yourself. So the way that Mahjong works is you make melds of tiles. So you either need like straights or triples. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, that sort of thing, or 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, etc., etc. And you can get that in your own hand by drawing them yourself, or you can use these two abilities called chi, which is when you take a tile from the player to your left and make a row, a run, a 1, 2, 3, or 4, 5, 6, a 5, 6, 7, whatever it is. with that tile, or a pon, P-O-N, pon, which is when you take a tile from any of the other players and you make a triplet, 222, 555, 888, whatever it is. And the way to get exposed dragon is to use chi or pon for all of your tiles except for your last tile, which you hold private, and then you make a pair with it, and then you make that pair with it, and that's how you win. So you have to have a fully open hand, is what it's called. When you call a chi or a pawn, you open your hand. So you need a fully open hand to get this trophy. That's why it's called exposed, because you're open. So it's exposed dragon. It should be pretty easy. It's actually harder to not get that particular hand. When I was doing the 100% completion and I need to get the mini games, I need to get 50,000 points playing mahjong in one round, which is 4 hands of mahjong. That was not easy. And it would have been much easier if I was willing to get the exposed dragon trophy, but I wanted to save it because I'm a weirdo and I want my trophies to be 0, Kiwami 1, Kiwami 2, 3 remastered. And I didn't want to play Kiwami 2 yet because 3 remastered is way, way, way worse than Kiwami 2. So I'm going to leave that trophy undone. And then when I do go back for Kiwami 2, probably in a couple months, I'll go and I'll do all of Kiwami 2, and then I'll just go back and quickly get the 3 remastered trophy, and then it'll be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1, 2, 3. And then I don't really, 4 and 5 will also do in order because 6 is where I started. So everything after 6 is in whatever order, but I want 0 through 5 to be in order, even if it's got intermittent trophies in between from other Yakuza games. So that's where I am with 3 remastered. I'm done. I finished it. I'm very happy. Questions?
I'm just happy we're not going to have to hear about Yakuza for another week or so.
More than that, I'm not going to play it anytime soon. It'll be a bit before I jump in. I was tempted to jump right into to Kiwami 2 actually, but I don't have my external hard drive with my PS4 version available, and I don't want to delete it on here, and I'd have to re-download it, and I don't want to risk downloading the saves are not compatible, and I don't know how to get the PS4 version off the top of my head, and I don't want to risk getting rid of the PS4 version because I would have to replay the game all the way, and I don't want to do that. I'm going to use my PS4 save. So I will be playing it on 30 frames, even though the upgrade to 60 frames is free because the saves are not compatible with one another for some reason.
Life is all about compromise.
It's actually better. There's a mini game. There's a mini game called Toilets. I don't know exactly what it is, but apparently it's much harder at 60 frames. Like TOY, let's toilets. And I don't remember anything about that minigame, but Koala, friend of the show, said that it's much harder at 60 frames or higher frames. So the fact that it runs at 30 frames is better. So I'll take it.
I've seen that before. That has to do with not syncing up, I guess, frame rates and clock speeds and whatever else.
Yeah, apparently the biggest problem with 3 Remastered's combat is the fact that it's at 60 frames, and that's why it feels so bad, because the frames move so quickly that when you break their block, they reblock so quickly because the frame is jumped up, and that's why they call it Blockuza, because it's like blocking constantly. Yeah. So that's it for Yakuza 3. No more Yakuza talk for a little bit. Byron has a giant smile on his face for the audio listeners because he doesn't care about Yakuza. I need to get a co-host who likes Yakuza. My goodness. Or a guest. We need a guest who likes Yakuza.
All right, Pokemon, go.
Yeah, Pokemon Fire Red. I bought the Pokemon Fire Red re-release on Switch 2. I played it for about an hour, so I don't do too much in it. I have to say, it is Pokemon. It feels like Pokemon. It looks like Pokemon Fire Red. It was really cool to be back in that world and see the startup and everything. I also will say, I knew about this problem going in, and I still did it twice. If you hit all of the face buttons at one time, it hard resets the game, so you lose your progress if you haven't saved. I lost probably like 15 minutes of progress in that because I did that twice. That was unfortunate. It's just a habit. I'm a fiddler. I fiddle with it, and you just hit all the buttons, and it just hard resets the game.
Crap feature.
It's a Game Boy feature. It's a holdover. They did nothing to this game but port it.
The Game Boy had a physical switch. It didn't even have a soft switch. You could click it, turn it off, and turn it back on.
Yeah. So that was not cool. And I've made that mistake a couple times. It's not so bad in the end. I didn't really lose that much. And actually, I did it so early that I did it before I picked my Charmander, and I went from getting a male Charmander to a female Charmander, which was cool because female Charmanders have only a 12.5% spawn rate as the odds of getting one. So I thought that was cool. So now I have a female Charmander instead.
Careful, it might jump in between your Yakuza games on your trophy list.
I understand the joke, but it's a Switch game. So just so we're clear, it's not about having nothing between the Yakuza games. It is about having the Yakuza games out of order. So anything after 6, after 5, it can be any of the Yakuza games. I have Like a Dragon and Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth and Pirate Yakuza all strewn throughout there and Judgments. That's okay. It's just the old games before I started getting the platinums I wanted to have in order. That's all. That's all. I
when
just
you
want those
die,
in order.
when you die, you're gonna go to heaven, and Saint Peter is gonna be looking through his book of deeds and gonna be, you got your yakuza out of order. I'm sorry, hell for you, sir.
That's so cruel. That's so cruel. I just wanted it that way. And then part of the other reason why I did this for Yakuza was just because
We're done with the yakuza.
Kiwami
Pokemon.
3 is out, and I know that Kiwami 3 is going to play better than 3 Remastered, so I didn't want to have to go back ever to 3 Remastered after Kiwami 3. But yeah, so I played just a bit of Fire Red. I don't know when I'll get back to it. I'll probably just play it sporadically. I didn't know what to do. Let me ask you this, Byron. Do you get into a malaise when you finish a game?
No, because usually I'm waiting for something else. What I get into a malaise with is when I'm near the end of the game and I think this is about to be over. Let me see how long I can prolong this.
Interesting. I get into a post-game malaise. I also tend to wait for things, but I'm not always perfect in my timing. So, for example, I would have been better off if 3 Remastered took me all the way until March 12th. It didn't. Oh well. What?
Pokemon 3?
No, 3 Remastered.
We're talking about Pokemon now, right?
Yes, but that's what I'm saying
Okay.
is I would have been better if 3 Remastered had taken me to March 12th because
Okay.
of
It
timing
ended
of
too
things.
quickly. Okay, I
But
got what you're saying now. We're
yeah,
not changing subjects. Okay.
right. But it ended too quickly. And so I had to figure something else out. So I was like, oh, let me try Fire Red because I bought that. And so I went and I grabbed that and I sat next to my mom while she was watching her soap opera for a little bit. And I was playing the Pokemon game and then my
Yeah.
Switch died. So
Was it because it ran out of juice?
yeah, I just didn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
A couple of comments here. One of the things you already picked up on is that Switch games are absolutely perfect for hanging out with people and still being able to play games while you're doing it. Second of all, you can buy like a 60-watt portable charger, plug it up to the wall, plug it up to your Switch, and just play as long as you want to, and not have to worry about having extra parts from your Switch with you at any given time.
Oh, I didn't. I didn't bring anything else for the Switch. What I did was I took it off. I took it out of the charger when I left for my parents' house, and then I just didn't plug it into anything. So it was just sitting in sleep mode in the case, and
Yeah.
it slowly got down to
Uh,
like 30%.
Slowly, my butt, just like the Switch does, it seems to drain on sleep pretty quickly.
Okay, well, it over the days since I left, when I left on Monday, and then I was playing it on Friday night, I guess it was. It was down from like
Yeah.
86% or 85%, whatever I cap it at, down to like 30 something percent. So it was dying. So I played it for a little bit with my mom while she was doing her thing, and that was nice. And then it died, so I put it away. And then I decided that was enough Pokemon for the time, and then I went back downstairs to the basement, and picked up a different game. And Byron, I know you're going to want to talk about this one, so that's all I have to say on Pokemon for now. I'll
Good.
talk more about it when I play more.
Yeah, go ahead.
All
I'm all
right.
ears.
I finally started God of War Ragnarok. Byron, ask me questions about God of War Ragnarok because
Are
you
you
love these
enjoying it?
games.
I think they're great. Are you enjoying it? That's the most important thing.
Am I enjoying it?
If the answer is no, put it down and
Yes.
go do something else. If the answer is yes, continue on.
The answer is yes, I am enjoying it. On the whole, I am enjoying it. I have gripes. I always have gripes. I'm not a giant fan of the God of War games, but I am enjoying this game. Yes, and I am thinking about it, playing it when I'm not playing it, which is a good sign. It means I'm looking forward to going back to playing it. Uh, yeah,
So
so I'm enjoying it.
I challenge the idea that you have to be a fan of the God of War series to like this game and like the God of War 2017 or whatever, because they're different
2018.
characters. Whatever, they're different characters. The Kratos from the original three God of Wars is a different character than this Kratos. This is older Kratos who has a son who is actually tied to something more important than just slaughtering enemies. And
Right.
so narratively speaking, they're entirely separate
Well,
completely different types of games.
they're more or less separate. Obviously, you get the
There,
blades at the end of.
there's ties, yeah, but like it's not all about just walking around with abandon and wiping everything else. There's larger
For
things at
sure.
play, and there's more considerations, and it's a more complete character
Oh yeah.
with a
Yeah.
much better storyline, like one of the better storylines of any video game ever made, in my opinion,
It
which
is a
is
very good story.
why I like it. Um, are you frustrated by it? Are you? How do you find the combat in it?
I am terrible at the combat in this game. I was terrible at the combat in the last game. I have absolutely zero desire to 100% this game, which is part of the reason I started it, because I think if I play the game, I maybe will get it done before Greedfall. Maybe, if I'm lucky. We'll see. Uh, if I'm not, I'll probably stop and play Greedfall and then go back to it, or maybe I'll finish it depending how close I am. But I am terrible at the combat in this game, and I was terrible in the combat at the last game. And the combat in the original set of games is really too simple to be terrible at, but I did play them on easy because I didn't want any challenge and I wasn't that interested. And I really was interested in getting to 2018, but I didn't want to play 2018 without playing all the others first. So I did. So I played all 6 prior games in 1 week before playing 2018 a year later.
I thought that the combat was the appropriate level of challenge.
I'm not saying it's too
Wherein,
difficult. I'm
no,
saying I'm bad. I want to make that clear.
yeah, I thought that it was well designed because things that frustrated you were things you could learn and adapt from and overcome once you learned about them. And I always think that's the hallmark of a good game.
Yeah, I was very pleased to see that they offer you 2 shields off the bat, where one is a parry shield and one is a stand there and absorb damage shield.
Ooh,
And I was like,
ooh.
is that the platinum trophy for it?
Yeah.
Okay. I read through that and I was like, ooh, parry, because I like parrying in games sometimes. And I thought, I'm terrible at this game. I can absorb the non-blockable hits with this shield. I'm going for the absorbing shield, and I grabbed the big one that lets me absorb the damage, and it saved my life many times at this point.
I think I did too because I'm not always the best at parrying.
Yeah, I'm not either. I like parrying. I'm just not always good at it.
Oh,
um,
in in a theoretical sense, I think that parrying and riposte, whatever it is, I think that they're fantastic. Am I good at it? No. And does that limit me when I play Dark Souls? Sure as heck does.
I did play Ghost of Yote almost entirely in the perfect parries only mode, though, where you had the armor that only let you perfect parry. I did play it that way, but that was for the benefit of having the extra strikes. I think that armor was the better armor in the game. But anyway, yeah. So I went with the big shield for the damage absorption, and that was cool. I'm about 6 hours into the game for everyone. I didn't say that off the start, so I've got a nice chunk of time. I've done some stuff. I guess it's not a spoiler because everyone knows to say, like, I found Tyr. I just got Tyr, basically. That's what I've done.
Yeah, honestly, like this isn't like Dragon Quest VII where it was released a couple months ago and people may be playing it for the first time. This is God of War. It's been a couple years now. Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as you don't give like the big narrative spoilers, I think you're fine.
I haven't even hit the big narrative spoilers. So all I can say is I just got Tyr, and I literally am at the segment where you play as Atreus the first time and you go off with Sindri, and I'm like, I saved in front of the portal like to leave with Sindri. Yeah, so my gripes with God of War 2018 and Ragnarok are I don't really like the way that Kratos moves. I feel he's very heavy, and he is
he
heavy.
is.
And I don't like that I don't have a jump button. I don't like that I can only jump at certain points of the
I get that.
level, particularly as Kratos is a giant jumper in the original 6 games. Like, you're jumping constantly in those games, I feel like.
Yeah, they do that for like limiting factors on the map, so you
I
can't
know.
get through things you shouldn't. And yeah, I never liked that very well either. But
Yeah, and I'm not a big fan of exploration in this world. The map is horrible. This is a terrible map.
I can tell you, I love exploration. That's one of my favorite things in games. I am an
I
explorer
love exploration too.
as
Yeah.
a person. And yeah, this game frustrated me from time to time because the map does suck. And whenever I was going around and finding stuff at the end of the game to complete it, I backtracked a lot. I got lost a lot.
Yep, this is a very, very heavily inspired 3D Metroidvania, which I also do not like. I do not like Metroidvanias very much. I will never go back to the Apple Core, I'm sure, to go back and get whatever was in the Apple Core that I did not get, that I could not get. There's a chance I'll go back and look around a little bit, I guess, but I don't have any expectation. If I can't get it in my first exploration of it, I probably won't go back for it because it's not easy to figure out where you are and how to get places. And
It
that's
is
one of the
not.
reasons I like the Horizon series, because Aloy has a slight, very slight Metroidvania-ness to her in the open world only. Only in the open world, only in the full exploration where like you need to have the metal flower ability or you need to have the vine cutter ability. Like very small, and it's very clear that you can't do something, and it's very clear how you can do it, and it's very clear where to go when you want to
It's
go and
very
do it.
clear. It's very clear because Aloy says things like, "I don't think I can do that right now. I should come back later." And we've
Mimir and
talked about
Atreus
that.
say the
That's
same
great.
thing. Yeah,
Does
Mimir
he?
and
Okay,
Atreus. Yeah,
good.
yeah, they do. There's like these circles that are glowing that I walked up and let me hit circle, and then Kratos walks up to me and he kind of like touches it, and then Mimir's like, I don't think we can do anything with it yet, or
Yeah.
whatever.
And again, I hate wasting time. My
Yeah, I
time
do
is
too.
precious. Like, let me figure out what I can figure out. But if I can't figure it out, just let me know.
Yeah, I agree. It doesn't do that for everything because there was like a zip line that I guess I couldn't do, and like a couple treasure chests that I was like, oh, I see the things like the little gas spouts that it won't let me do anything with right now. So there's a couple that doesn't quite tell you, but on the whole, it does tell you that you can't do things. But it's so cumbersome to get anywhere in this game. It feels like you have to get in the boat, you have to sail or paddle yourself over to the area. It's not like Horizon where you just right click or or hit square, hold square, and you're boom, you're right in front of the campfire and you're 200 meters away from where you got to go. You just run over there. Like it's easier in those games. So for a game that has a fair amount of exploration like this one, but it's so cumbersome to get around, it doesn't make me want to go and explore and try. So that is unfortunate. But I do like this game because I do like this story so far. I do think it's interesting. I always thought the 2018 story was interesting. I just don't have as much fun playing the game because I'm not good at it. I'm very bad. I die to like random little things. Like I've died to the little jumpers that like jump at you and just like kill you. They're tiny and they just like chip away at your health. Died. I died to a big thing. Very early on, you're in the dwarven realm. You're in Svartalheim, and you have to like go, if you want to, as an optional thing. You can go and clear out rigs, like mining rigs or whatever. The first one I did had this big boss creature on it, and I died to him, and I had to use my free resurrection stone because I didn't want to do it again. From all over, so I used the resurrection stone. I almost died even after the resurrection stone was used. Like, so I'm not good at these games. I'm not probably won't lower the difficulty because I'll get through it. I don't die that frequently that I need to lower it, but yeah. I like some of the accessibility options in this game as well. I turned immediately grab everything automatically on. There's like an auto grab option, so I don't have to hit the button to grab stuff. I just pick it up automatically.
I think I did the same thing.
I was like, why would that ever be off? Why do I want to hit the button to loot things? So that was cool. I wish there was some color blindness settings. I don't think I need it right now, but I don't see any color blindness options in there, which is not unusual. Horizon never has color blindness options for accessibility, which is annoying.
So
But
my guess, and I don't know this as somebody who's not colorblind, but I would think that the studios who are more receptive or more open to the idea of accessibility may already bake in colors that are accessible for colorblind people without having to
they might.
change the settings.
Avowed did that. Avowed actually from Obsidian, the like colored the art director. I think the art director was colorblind or something, and he like made it so that it was colorblind friendly automatically, something like that. Someone in there was colorblind.
Good companies have people who work for them who keep those things in mind and keep developers and
Yeah,
developers in line. Your company used to have somebody who did that. I don't know if they're still doing it anymore.
I have no idea. I don't have any issues with the colors so far. It's like the yellow and the red can be a little hard to determine between the undodgeable and the unblockable. It's actually not that I can't see the difference between them. It's that the red is kind of very dull. It's not really super bright. So I see the yellow and I can be like, oh, I can use my shield on this one because it's an unblockable attack that I have a shield that lets me block it with. But the red is like you have to dodge. And I don't always spot that one right away. That I struggle a little bit. Otherwise, it's not so bad. I am using the armor, the Black Bear armor right now that gives me an extra invincibility time during a dodge because I'm bad at dodging and I wanted more time to have safety when I dodge, and I feel like that's helped me out so far. And I've been anytime I get a new ability, I'm trying to like grind out the labors so that I can unlock the rune slot for it immediately and just like plug a rune in there for each weapon. I'm not every ability, I guess, but like a handful of them. And yeah, I like the game. I'm not in love with the game. It's not the greatest game ever, but it's fun. I like this game. I am enjoying it. I look forward to playing it more and just seeing where the story goes because I think that it is a good story. I liked the tale of the first game, and I'm looking forward to having more Richard Schiff show up at my door or fight him or whatever because Richard Schiff is Odin, which is a fun little
Fat
thing.
Odin. I like Fat Odin.
Yeah, he's not fat at all. He's very thin.
Is he in this one? Because he was fat in the first one, right?
No,
Odin?
you're talking Thor.
No, Thor. Sorry, Thor. Yeah, fat Thor. Yeah,
Thor is fat. Yeah, no, Odin. Is Richard Schiff. He's the scrawny little. It's kind of he's got the eye patch. He doesn't look like
yeah. I
he's a
remember
god.
Odin from the game. Yeah, I just got the names confused. Yeah, I remember Odin, and yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah. So I'm enjoying it so far. I like Kratos' voice is great. Atreus is much better in this game than he was in the first one already. I think he's a more interesting character than he was originally. I think they've done some good character development on him. And I like Sindri and Brock. The dwarves are fun. Yeah, they're good.
So a couple things. First is kids get less annoying as they get older. And second is there's no such thing as a perfect game. All of your quibbles are things that, for the most part, I experienced as well.
Yeah.
Every game requires a little bit of grace and a little bit of forgiveness. And
sure.
In my mind, like these games, and the reason why I think they're so great is the storyline, the narrative makes the game so worth it that you're willing to ignore some of the little things in the game that, yes, are annoying. Yeah, obviously, I liked them because I'm pretty sure I platted both of them.
Yeah,
and enjoyed doing it. I enjoyed going through and beating the Valkyries and whatever the Valkyries were in the second one. I don't remember what they were anymore, but
I don't know.
Just so great.
Yeah, I do like it. I am willing to deal with my quibbles to go through and experience the story, but my quibbles are enough that I don't. My quibbles are so specifically related to the things that you would need to do to get a platinum trophy or to get the 100% that I wouldn't want to do it in this game. I would not enjoy backtracking and going through to get all the collectibles and all the chests and fight all the enemies and stuff. I would struggle there. So
but
that
5
would not
hours
be
of match game
fun.
is okay for you.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, it is definitely that is much more palatable for me for sure. So, but that's it. That's all I've been playing. I am enjoying it quite a bit. I am, like I said, quibbles. I look forward to playing more when we're off of this podcast and continuing my trek. And maybe I will have it done by Thursday for Greedfall 2. Maybe I won't. See.
Cool. Well, we will endeavor to get you onto God of War Ragnarok by moving on to the wild card. Ready?
Get me. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yes. Okay.
Get you off of the podcast so you can go play your game.
I picked it up. I got you. Yes. Okay. Wild card.
Okay. So March is Women's History Month. I really am sorry, Black History Month. That was my fault that I didn't think about doing a segment on that. And today, as of recording, is International Women's Day. Who is your favorite game industry woman and why? And or who's your favorite media character who doesn't follow the overly sexualized women's role? Bonus, you can't say Aloy, you can't say Samus. Those are done. And I'll let you go first because I introduced it.
Sure. Well, I want to say, first of all, as just a baseline statement, I'm actually completely against individual months for particular groups of people. I think that's a ridiculous concept for anybody because there's too many individual types of people out there to dedicate a single month to any one group. I think that's crazy to me. But this is Byron's topic, so I will answer the question. And it's got nothing to do with anything. I think it's silly. I don't want any groups to have months dedicated to them. It just seems ridiculous.
When is White Man's Month? Why can't we have White Man's Month?
I don't want White Man's Month either. That would be ridiculous. It would all be ridiculous. It's a completely ridiculous concept to dedicate
I'm okay
a month.
Shining the spotlight on people who deserve to have the spotlight shined on them.
I would love to shine spotlights on individuals all the time. Anyone who does something great deserves a spotlight on them. I think that is awesome. But a whole month dedicated to any group of anybody is silly, especially when you think about you really only hear about it in February and March, and sometimes you hear about it for whatever the Asian
In
Pacific Islander month
June,
is.
in Asian Pacific Islander month. So the last thing I'll say before I'd like to move on is traditionally the people who get the spotlight shined on them or certain months are the people who haven't had the ability to get the spotlight shined on them throughout history of America. And just by saying we're all equal now doesn't mean we're all equal.
We'll just have to agree to disagree on some of this stuff, I guess. I just think it's just silly. It's just silly to me. But I do appreciate the question because it is a good question nonetheless. I don't mind International Women's Day. I think having a single day. You want to give a day to everybody? Cool. There's plenty of days in the year. Plenty of days in the year for everybody. Absolutely.
I want to note for our audio listeners, Joe and I are both white males.
Plenty of days in the year to give to a group of people. 365. Anyway, sometimes 66. My favorite character is not Aloy in things, by the way. I do like her, but she's not the drive for Horizon for me. Is she the drive for Horizon for you? Do you just really like Aloy? Is that why you like Horizon? I like the world.
The world is okay. I think Aloy is an amazing character. I think Aloy is an inspiring character.
I agree with that.
That is part of it. So the I guess for me, Horizon is three parts, and I don't want to spend too much time on this part of it. I think Aloy is one of the best characters ever made for a video game. I think Horizon's storyline is one of the best concepts of a storyline for any
that
game.
I agree with.
And it has the appropriate amount of reveals in it that make you engaged. And I think and this is kind of like the storyline, but the setting, like I don't always love post-apocalyptic garbage, but the setting with like robot dinosaurs and robot animals, and you can hack them and you can tear them apart, and then you can build other things. That's just so cool. That's something I love.
You want a little secret about why the post-apocalyptic thing probably doesn't bother you so much in Horizon, Byron? Is because it's not post-apocalyptic. It's post-apocalyptic. The apocalypse is over. They are back. They are a new society. They are rebuilding a brand new society.
Correct.
Yeah. Which is what makes it so much more interesting.
We're back in the Bronze Age.
Fallout bores me to tears as a concept because I'm like, it's just everything's horrible. Everything's horrible in this Fallout world. I never even played it because it doesn't appeal to me because I'm like, everything's horrible here. Why do I want to play a horrible place? Post-apocalyptic is when everything's back on the rise, and that is an inherently more interesting concept, I think. So, anyway,
continue on.
My favorite video game female who's not at all sexualized is a Yakuza female. I love her very much. Haruka-chan, Haruka Sawamura, is, without spoiling anything, Kiryu's adopted daughter. Haruka Sawamura is my absolute favorite. I love Haruka-chan so much. She is adorable when she's a kid, and going to see her grow up through all of the games through the years, because she's in like all of the mainline games, at least a little bit. You even play as her. She's the first female playable character in Yakuza and Yakuza 5. I love her. I adore her. She is amazing. She is so awesome, strong and stubborn, even when she's a little kid. She's and sweet and she's just the best. And it's funny because she is so underutilized. It's horrific how underutilized she is as a character. They sideline her all of the time, but she is amazing, and I adore her character. Other female characters I love. Morrigan is waifu. I love Morrigan from Dragon Age Origins. She is...
Oh, okay. Not Morrigan from Vampire Saviors.
Huh? I don't know what that is.
Darkstalkers. Not Morrigan from there that everybody else would think of when they think of Morrigan. Okay.
No, Morrigan from Dragon Age Origins. I love Morrigan. I have a statue of her in my house because she is the only video game statue that I've ever bought separate from a separate individual purchase that I specifically decided to make. If I can find a picture of it, I'll find the picture of it. But yes, I adore her character. She is sarcastic and biting and funny, and also super sweet when she needs to be, in like these weird ways that you're like, that doesn't really seem sweet, but it actually is. She's such a well-written character, and I very much enjoy her as I can't find the picture right now. I very much enjoy everything about her character in Origins and in Inquisition and even in Veilguard. She is just one of my favorite video game characters of all time, but in a different way than Haruka is, for sure. Yanfei is Yanbei. I love Yanfei from Genshin Impact. She is a pyro character. She throws fireballs, which is awesome. And she is also a contracts lawyer. That is what she is. That is who she is. She is half Adeptus, so she's got these horns, like these little horn things, but I love her. And she is fun, and she is the perfect encapsulation of an American lawyer, somehow written by a Chinese development team. I don't know how they did it, but they encapsulated an American contracts lawyer perfectly. And she
In
is
the interest of
awesome.
friendship, I have no comment.
And then Kyrie always has my heart from Kingdom Hearts. I love Kyrie. Kyrie was my first like media crush, I guess, video game media crush as Kingdom
I always
Hearts
thought she was
as a
kind of
kid.
boring.
Nah, I love Kyrie.
Yeah.
She's just, I don't know. I loved her so much. Even in her, all versions of her, I adore. I really love Kyrie. Again, another underutilized character. They really could have used her better in Kingdom Hearts 3, I think. Uh, just something about her and Sora together. I love Kyrie a
But it was
lot.
never her game. It was Sora's game. Like
Yeah, it was
so,
Sora's game. I know. I
she
just
was
feel
the
like they could
princess
have
to be
used her
rescued
more.
by and large.
Yeah, but they could have. But then she becomes like the warrior in 3 in some ways. Like she starts fighting herself, and yeah. I want to give a special shout out to Estelle from Trails, who I now adore. Because I really love Trails, and I thought her character was so charming and so like silly. She was great. Also a shout out to Cassandra from Assassin's Creed Odyssey. She's amazing. Definitely my second favorite Assassin's Creed protagonist behind Ezio, but pretty close. Like it's like a 9 and a 9.1 kind of level. Like it's so close how much I adore Cassandra.
So I do want to point out that Cassandra, while canonically is female, you could have played her as a male, which I bet a lot of people did.
He plays Alexios, yeah.
But yeah,
It,
same. Yeah,
well, Cassandra
the main
becomes the
character
villain.
is the main character. I guess is canonically Cassandra, but you can
Right.
play it as a male character because I'm
Right,
sure
you
they
can play
were
as the
afraid of
male character
triggering some people.
Alexios, and then the reverse around is if you play as Alexios, Cassandra's the villain.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I never experienced that, but I'd heard it.
yeah, this is tough. There's a lot of female characters that I love. If we're going for non-gaming female characters, I love Ziva David from NCIS. She was always my favorite NCIS female. She came back for a new show with Tony Tony from Tony DiNozzo as her co-character from the show, who's Michael Weatherly, the actor, and Kota Pablo is the actress. I really loved those her though. She's wonderful. And then real person in the video game industry, finally, Yoko Shimomura, who is the composer of Kingdom Hearts. Her music is magical and perfect. So she is probably my favorite video game industry real person woman. And now I guess I'll throw it over to you, Byron. That's pretty much it for my list. I'm guessing Ashley Birch is somewhere on there for you.
Yeah, if we're gonna go real people, I'll just go ahead and knock it out and say I've loved everything that she's been in. I need to play Life is Strange. We've talked about that multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think outside of just doing video game stuff, I think that it's super cool that Ashley Birch is essentially running her own YouTube channel about destigmatizing mental health. I think that's a extremely important thing in our world that that even to this day is underrepresented. So I do want to say that. Long term, I always love Tara Branford from Final Fantasy VI. You can assume that because I talk about Final Fantasy VI all the time. She's a great character. Does she do everything? Yeah, but she's also the main character, and the I don't want to get into. I mean, again, it's a 40-year-old game, 30-year-old game, so it's not too much, but just her entire character storyline is great, and how she changes over the game is top notch in my opinion. And I guess last from my list is the Laura Croft from the rebooted version of Tomb Raider.
You're
I
a fan
played the
of how she
original Tomb
dies.
Raider. I don't remember the end of it. Gosh,
No, I
I
said you're afraid. I was making a joke about all the gruesome deaths that they have throughout the game anytime you fail.
oh, I got you. I don't remember she died, but I could be misremembering the game.
No.
See, I'll get to that part. That's a whole different thing, and I may have talked about it in these storyline or stories before, these discussions before. Um, I played the original Tomb Raider. I didn't think the original Tomb Raider was great, and I never played a ton of it. And
Mm-hmm.
honestly, Laura Croft in those games was to sell video games without any consideration for anything else. But the rebooted Laura Croft was very much a real human being. She dressed
Mm-hmm.
like somebody who was actually on adventure and not somebody who was wearing short shorts and a tight tank top. Um, and I thought that's important because whether or not anybody else agrees with me, I don't care. Representation is important. And if you want to attract women into the video game world, have realistic women in video games. Um, I I thought it was hilarious how they beat her up the entire game, and I don't know how she lived through the game, because like one of the first things I think that happens in Tomb Raider is she goes down like a riverbed, like a waterfall
Mm-hmm.
type thing, and gets impaled by a stick. And what does she do? She patches it up and continues to keep going. And it's like, girl, like you should be in a bed somewhere, like recovering for the next 6 weeks. And she continues on. But I think that's important. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm above the fray. I do like women. I do like certain parts of women, but I also think that that's not necessarily realistic in how the world works. And I think that creating a realistic playing field where women are appropriately represented is important to legitimacy in the video game industry. I mean, there's always a place for things. If you want to buy an adult video game, go ahead and buy an adult video game. But I think that by and large, that women should be represented in games as they would be represented in real life. I think I've talked about Magic the Gathering doing that maybe 10, 15 years ago, where they changed their art direction. And I think that the rebooted Lara Croft was a big deal as well.
Yeah, I don't disagree with any of that. I think that it's important to have all sorts of characters in games. You know, I think that that makes games more interesting to have different types of protagonists because it lets you tell different stories, you know, different perspectives. I don't think there's anything wrong with going in either direction. I just think that it's really up to the creative mind of the creators who want to, you know, if you want to create the you know, not realistic characters, go for it. If you want to create realistic characters and you want to try and bring different people into industries, go for it. Like I think that creators' intent is one of the most important parts of our medium because we do have so much in our medium that there's so many things out there that, you know, there's so much that's similar and so much that feels the same and looks the same, you know, the same art styles and same storylines. And that if you can have some creator's intent that does something cool, like makes Lara Croft a real person, that's awesome. Uh, you know, I think that's good.
Yeah. And I think we've talked about this before too. I don't have a problem with appropriate nudity in games, male or female. If it's part of your story, cool, make it part of your
Mm-hmm.
story. I also think that I know we've talked about this, that appropriate safeguards for children are placed on things as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
Yeah, that's. I thought it was a decent conversation for International Women's Day and
yeah.
Women's History Month.
Yeah.
Um, Anything else you want to say about it?
No, that's it. I'm good. I have a tendency to actually play female characters in games when given a choice, depending on the game itself. When I played Pillars of Eternity, as well as Avowed, I play as a female watcher slash envoy. Like I like to pick female characters sometimes to play as Cassandra in Assassin's Creed. But when I was picking between the Vikings for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I picked male Eivor. I go with whatever feels like the right vibe. Um, you know, Valhalla felt like a story of brotherhood between male Eivor and Sigismund, whatever his name was. Um, and Odyssey felt like Cassandra's story. You know, it just depends on the situation. I like having that freedom of choice. My character in Genshin Impact is the female version. I play as Lumine instead of Aether, which is the male kind of name. So yeah. What about, do you pick? Do you always play men? Do you pick between? Do you vary? What do you do?
It depends. Honestly, it depends on also the kind of character I'm playing. And
Sure.
this is super stereotype, but I'll tell you, if I'm playing Dark Souls or something like that, if I'm playing somebody who's going to be like an axe and shield character, it's more likely going to be a big burly guy. And if I'm going to play a spellcaster, it's more likely going to be a female. Um, so yeah, I mean, stereotypes, no matter what your intent are, it still exist.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah, for me, it's just what do I feel like playing in the given moment.
And I'll say that I do weigh it based on like what the impacts are to the storyline. When I'm given the choice, I will Google it and see like what impacts it has on the story to pick one or the other. So when I first played Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I looked about, what's the difference in playing a female or male main character, and it says, well, this is Cassandra. She's the the character that was intended for the story. And I said, okay, cool. Then that's what I'm picking. And if it had been the
She's
other way,
also
I would
so
have picked
much
the male
better.
character.
She's so much better as a voice actor.
I wouldn't know. I didn't play the male character at all. So
I just heard about people talking about it, and I saw like little snippets of it, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah. She's so much better than the Alexia's voice.
Gotcha.
But no, that's it. I like I said, I like to just go and it's a vibe. You know, what's the mood? What do you feel like playing at any given time? Trying to think of other things like, when I played Greedfall, when I played the first Greedfall, I played as the female version of it, of the character there. So I'll probably play the female in Greedfall too, if it's an option, just for continuity, I guess. I don't know. That's it. That's all
Cool.
I have to say on topic though.
Well, let's get out of here then.
Upcoming games.
Upcoming games, go for it.
All right. As I've said a couple times, Greedfall: The Dying World comes to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC on March 12th. I actually think it's March 10th for PC. I think this may be wrong. I think it's early. It's available in early access at the moment. I think the full patch comes out. The 1.0 is going to be out March 10th for PC. But in any event, this week it comes out. Also out on March 12th, Solasta 2 enters early access. You guys and girls all heard me talk a lot about Solasta 1, and you'll hear me talk more about it when I get home and I play the DLC for it at some point. So that's exciting for the Solasta 2. It looks so much better than the first game does. Like literally, the graphics of it look so much better because the first game is ugly. It was built on Unity as well. And it's got some high quality voice here. It's got your Ben Stars and your Deborah Wilds and your Amelia Tylers as the narrator there. So yeah, it's got some quality talent from Baldur's Gate and Clair Obscur and all of your other favorite Final Fantasies and that stuff. And then finally, Monster Hunter Stories 3 Twisted Reflection comes to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and Switch. I think it got cut off here. Stories 3. I think it's coming to Switch and Switch 2 as well. And I think that is also March 12th. Let me verify that date for you. March 13th, it's coming out, and it is coming to Switch and Switch 2, I think. I'm trying to find. It's either Switch 2 or only Switch. It's either Switch 2 and Switch or Switch 2 only. I'm not sure, but it is coming at all the others as well.
Yeah, it seems like there are very few Switch 2 only games still.
It's the platforms on Wiki list only Switch 2 here, so maybe it's only Switch 2. But anyway, yes, that's March 13th. So if you like to check that out, that will be reviewed at Season Gaming. We did get someone at Season Gaming will be playing that and reviewing it. So I hope you will look out for it. It's not me.
Where can we find you, Joe?
You can find me at Joseph_Law_Russa on Twitter/X. You can find my writing at Season Gaming. As Don Lionheart, I will have a Greedfall review for you guys at some point, hopefully in the near future, hopefully soon. I don't know how long it'll take me to play that game, but I will have a review for that written. And then that's it for me. Byron, what about you?
Radio Free Europe on Blue Sky 3s instead of E's. I hadn't posted anything this week, so hit and miss.
No wrestling posts?
Not this week, but next week is a new pay-per-view, so maybe so.
All right.
Yep. All right. Well, don't forget to like and subscribe. Click the thumbs up, 5 stars, etc. on your playback platform of choice.
Comments. We love the comments.
Yes, comments. That shows engagement. Please give us comments. And remember, whether it's your gen, my gen, or someone else's, friends can be cross-generation. Goodbye,
Take
everybody.
care, all.